Welcome back to yet another episode of Lounge 11 with Femi and Samco. Samco, how are you doing today?
Not bad. It's been a quiet week. Very, very quiet week. Some good games, especially in the Champions League, but it's not bad. How are things going for you?
Same. It's kind of getting boring on this side, wins and clean sheets and all of that. But somebody said on our banter call, on Sunday that you sleep better with clean sheets.
Very true. Very, very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have plenty to talk about across the world of football. But maybe we'll start with the Burnley game,
Um,
Arsenal at Burnley. I know you expected a very high scoring game, but we got two first half goals, and
mhm.
then after that was just trying to see the game out. But
Yeah.
what were your thoughts on that game at
The game,
Burnley?
the game started as I expected. Like I said, like you said, I was expecting a high scoring game because of how Burnley play. And if you notice in different phases of that game, they actually tried to like take the game to us the best way they could. So I was expecting us to get a couple goals. I think the first half was definitely the more entertaining half. We were very direct. Our attacking phases were very good. The second half, we lost Gyökeres especially, and I think that changed the dynamic of the game and how we attacked. We brought in Merino, and it was more of about containing Burnley and stuff like that. But then again, you have to give them another professional, matured performance, especially in the second half, because the second half was at that time was just about controlling the game, taking our chances. If anything fell at our feet, unfortunately, it didn't. But again, mature performance, another clean sheet, 3 points. Nothing's more important than that. But it was I think I'll say it was a very good game. Enjoyed the first half especially.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I think I talked about how when we go a goal or two goals up, it's just I just don't see us as a team that if it's there we'll take it. If there's multiple goals to be had, but yeah, that was one of those games that clearly illustrated that. Obviously, the injury to Gyökeres changed things a little bit because you could see that the team was trying to readjust to not having a player like that up front, which is really incredible because we spent the first quarter of the season. It looks like hearing about how Eucharist might not be a good fit for Arsenal. And
Yeah.
now you see when it goes down, you see like the stylistic changes or
Hmm.
even just the challenges and breaking down low blocks. So it was interesting. But all in all, I thought it was a good professional performance. I think Declan Rice was without a doubt my best player on the pitch that day. I don't know if you saw the heat map for him. It was
No, I
all
didn't
over
see
the
it,
place.
but you could
It was
tell he was all over the
all
place in
over
that
the
game.
place. He had a hand in both goals actually,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
No, was
Yeah,
it
both goals
okay? The
because
first corner
the
kick
first
was
corner
from him.
kick, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then the second, like he ran the entire pitch to get on the end of that cross, right? So, we have in my mind the best midfielder right now in that position. So, nothing for me to really add. Like I said, it was 3 points against the Burnley team as you would expect. And yeah, we'll move on.
yeah. Pretty straightforward for that
Um,
game.
I think the real question though is the injuries. They're really starting to mount. We talked about, or we heard people talk about Arsenal being the deepest squad, having the deepest depth or whatever you want to call it. But as I look around now, I don't really see that depth anymore. You see players like Harriman coming in where you wouldn't expect them to.
Yeah,
We're back to Merino playing false nine,
yeah,
and things like that. How do you think this team has managed through all of that? Because that's something I'm not hearing people talk about a lot.
yeah,
That we've also dealt with a ton of injuries.
yeah. We've had to basically display the squad depth that we have this season. If you think about it, we actually have more injuries than we had at this point of last season. A lot of people don't know that we literally have
So
more
make that clear.
injuries
You mean we have more injuries now than we did at the
did at the
same
same
time last?
point last season. Yeah. And if you
Interesting. Yeah.
remember, at this point last season, we dropped some very silly points. We had some draws. Yeah, some of them with our discipline record didn't help, but we definitely did have more injuries at this point of the time last season than we have now. So you can tell that the difference and squad depth has really helped us, which is something a lot of us have always asked for from the board. So I think Mikel has been able to, I've been very impressed in how he has been able to manage players' minutes and squad balance and who to play, when to take them off and stuff like that. Even for like the kid you mentioned in Harriman, I was very surprised when I saw he started the game against Brighton. I see him a lot at the academy or at our academy games, and I've always felt he had something, but I still feel he's a long way. Like, I don't think he's as advanced as the likes of like the Waneris and Skellies at the points when they broke into the first team. So it was pretty much surprising for me to see him have a start and even playing the Champions League in the midweek. But I think Mikel is trying to make use of the squad, especially I think the results also have helped as well. Like you see him coming in the Champions League, that game was pretty much done 3-0. So you might as well get some attacking players some rest with the likes of Trossard based on the injuries that we have. So definitely big credits to them. We've been able to go through this injury, but we have a lot, especially in our attacking departments. Like I said, it's been a lot of injuries and international break couldn't have come any sooner. I think we're one of those teams that really needs that international break because with the next 2 weeks, I think we should be able to get about three, if not four, of those attacking players back. I think the likes of Gyökeres, Martinelli, Noni, maybe Havertz. I'm sorry, Odegaard for sure, and maybe Havertz should be back after the international break. So well managed because squeaky bomb time of the season is coming. November till March, you're playing literally almost every 3 days, especially in December. So we
Yeah.
need those players back. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I've waited for an international break as much as this one because it
Yeah.
just seems like we're just trying to get over the line and we have one more game obviously to do so. I think you could see that this team is running thing on bodies at the moment. The one thing that I want to give the coaching staff credit for, I don't know if you noticed this, it almost seems like they are now more attentive to not taking risks with certain
With
players. Like,
certain players. Yes.
you feel something, you're coming
You're
off,
coming out. Yeah.
and I think the good thing is this season we can afford to do that to some extent. Subimendi went off. I think they said it was cramps or whatever the case might have been, but we're not even giving it a chance to become something else. You've seen Saliba get taken off a few games.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel something, the Gyökeres thing also feels like it might, I don't know, I don't have the medical report, but it feels like it's more we want to give it time to heal naturally than let it kind of develop into something worse. So I was saying that with Gabriel. So it's pretty cool to see. Mascara has come in, done a job when either Saliba or Gabriel has had to go down. I think Noga did as best as it could in the Champions League.
It was
So
very good.
we've seen that. So
Yeah. I think the players have also bought into that as well because
yes.
you showed I think the players have to be the one to also communicate to the medical staff and say, I feel something, I feel a little niggle and everything. So I think they've bought into that as well. I think there's been communication where everyone is trying to trust each other. They're trying to trust the squad in terms of their
Hmm.
teammates and everything. And it's like there's going to be a lot of games to go around for everybody. There's a lot we need to do this season. So I think the players have also bought into that because if you remember, Mikel said Gyökeres was the one that actually told them that he felt something. Zubimendi was the one that asked to be taken off and stuff like that. So I think if they keep doing that, it's definitely going to help us, especially within this November, December. I don't know if you've seen the schedule in December. It's a lot of games. It's a lot of
I mean, it's
games.
it's always like that. So
Yeah.
I don't even think there's anything
So
new.
yeah, I think it's even
Um,
cramped more this year because I think there might be a January break, a little bit, the winter break for people. So they've brought most of those schedules again back into December and stuff like that. So we need these players, man. We need these
I was
players.
listening to something that, just to your point about, getting buy-in from the players. I was listening to one of Mikel's interviews and they'd asked him about, where the margins are. And he talked about obviously very fine margins between losing and winning. And I think one thing that he primarily touched on was injury records. And you can see that everything they've done this season is to try to mitigate that. The players that they brought in, I think a lot of us, when Nani was brought in for 50 million plus pounds or whatever. It seemed crazy at the time, but now it kind of all makes sense. And now you're seeing this injury thing that you're talking about where like it's like, look, if you feel something, let us know. We have quality on the bench to replace as well, right? So pretty interesting to see that if they can manage that better this season than they've done in previous years, I think it definitely sets the team up for
That
a better
that
chance of
would that would
success.
definitely go a long way. There's no doubt about it. Because injuries, there's one thing about injuries when it comes to football, and you see a lot of people say, "Oh, injuries are not an excuse," or everyone gets injuries. Yes, everyone gets injuries, but these guys are professional athletes. You're not going to tell someone who is a sprinter that has a little bit of a hamstring injury or a little bit of a nickel to run 100 meters, and when he doesn't win, you go, "Oh, injury is not an excuse." Like, these are definitely reasons why your team can definitely, fall behind in terms of, because like I said, look at our team compared to last season. We have more injuries now, but the difference within that is we have a much deeper squad, right? You don't need your squad to play 20 games for you in a season back to back. It's all about rotating and having people pick up these minutes here and there, right? Like you look at how the squad that he picks for Slavia Prague, very, very impressed with it. And now these guys came in and they did a job, right? So when they're able to do a job against Slavia Prague in the Champions League, they're able to do a job against Brighton in the Premier League. Whenever you need some of these guys to come in for 20, 30, 40 minutes in the Premier League, they're also able to step in. And we are the only ones that are going to like reap those benefits. So credit to them.
Credit, credit. Let's jump ahead so we can kind of get through a lot of what we need to discuss. The next game we'll bring up is the Chelsea Spurs game. Chelsea were away to Spurs and they won there 1-0. You know, one interesting stat that I discovered in preparing for, this conversation is that Chelsea hasn't won a Premier League game at home this season since the first one that they played. That is crazy, right? Like, what do you make of that, right? Obviously, when Thomas Frank came in, everybody gave him his due credit. But right now, like, they seem to be having a better chance winning games away from home than they do at home.
Yeah.
What do you think is driving that?
And that home record has gone as far back as when Andrew was there last season, right? But what is the reason behind it? I have no idea. I don't know. I think maybe because if there's one thing about Frank is he tries to keep his defensive structure, right? And I know the attacking players have not really, really been up for it this season. But it's funny because when you look at their goal tallies, they're up there with the most goals scored, especially in the league. And I think in the Champions League as well. I'm not sure about the Champions League, but in the league for sure. So whatever the reason is or why they are not picking up these points at home, I have no clue. Like there's nothing you can point it towards because when you watch I watched their game against, I remember the one against Wolves that they drew, the one against Villa, I watched it, and this one against Chelsea. And if we're actually being fair, all those teams were actually the better team in those games. They were actually the better team. So I can't come out and say there was a reason why Spurs, or sorry, the main reason you can say like the opponents were just better at home, right? So, and mind you, I think Chelsea actually wins at Spurs home ground
A
a
lot.
lot, yeah. And I think in the last, 5 to 8 games, I don't even think Chelsea have lost to Spurs. Yeah, I don't think they
So
have. But this particular game, they were horrible. Like
they were bad.
yeah, they were like, I don't want to take credit away from Chelsea, but Spurs were horrible, especially for
Yeah,
for a
Thomas Frank
London
said.
derby.
Yeah, Thomas Frank said he doesn't think he has coached a team that created so little.
So
I thought that
little,
was really interesting.
they were so horrible. They were so horrible on that day. So you can have a case that Chelsea made them look that way. You can also make a case that they just for a
They
London
were
derby,
just
I was
bad.
shocked. Yeah, they were they were just
They were
bad.
just bad.
Yeah, they were
They were just
really
bad.
really horrible. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. They are going to have Spurs are going to have a lot of hot and cold moments this season. But then again, it's something that I also see very well in Thomas Frank, even while he was at Brentford. They're going to have a lot
Mhm.
of hot and cold moments this season. I think the one thing that will go for them as well is, I'll say their expectations are a little bit, I say, measured in a certain way or is capped. So I don't think there's going to be as much of frustrations, especially from that of the media. Maybe the fans might have the frustration, so I can't speak for them. But they're going to have this up and down season, and I think it's just going to be like that throughout.
Before we move on from Spurs, speaking of frustrations, you did see frustrations boil over at the end of that game. I think Van de Ven is his name,
Van der Ven
and
and
Spence.
Spence, yeah,
You know, I think the story was the fans were booing,
yeah,
and it looks like Thomas Frank was trying to get them over to
hmm
applaud the fans, and they
yeah.
just kind of walked it off. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I think it was embarrassing on their part because if your manager is telling you to go clap up, I don't even think the manager should be telling you to go clap up the fans, especially at home after putting that ridiculous performance. I don't think your manager should come to you to tell you. And I think Van de Ven was even the captain on that day, if I'm correct. So I don't think your manager should be coming onto the pitch to tell you to go clap up the fans. That's the least you can do, right? These people pay their hard-earned money to come, not just watch you, but to also support you and everything. And if you don't give a performance, especially again in the London derby, the fans deserve to react whichever way they want to react, right? You go, you clap them off, and you keep it going. I thought Thomas Frank was going to, how do I call it, punish or find something to be done to them. I'm guessing it's something they would have done internally, or most people wanted it to be done internally. I think I saw a snippet of his press conference before the Champions League game, and he said they both had come to apologize and
Yeah,
apologize and stuff like that. But then again, you just don't come out and disrespect the manager. I've never been a fan of disrespecting the manager. And also, I'm not a fan of managers disrespecting players. I think it's a two-way street. But in that moment, I think it was very disgraceful from both of them.
yeah. We'll leave that there. Let's jump ahead to the Forest United game. I actually thought
Mm,
United were going to win that game, and
mm. What was my prediction
yeah,
for that game? I can't
I don't
remember.
remember, but I
Oh
think you
yeah, I remember I
mentioned
was
that
hating.
Forest
I
was
said
getting
that
some.
one,
Yeah, yeah,
nothing
yeah.
for them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And they ended up drawing that game away to Forest. But what was interesting to me, some of the comments that we heard on our banter call that, Forest didn't really deserve much from the game. The game was 2-2. I think United went ahead with a corner that maybe should never have been given.
Yep.
If VAR was, used differently. Not to say that VAR wasn't applied correctly because VAR could not have gotten involved with that corner kick. But um and so they went ahead, but I think Forest came back into the game 1-1 and 2-1. Then we got that really amazing goal from, I think, Ahmad. Was it Ahmad that made it two? Yeah. Yeah, but I thought Forest were actually really good in that game. I thought that was
Yes.
one of their better
In the second
games,
half, they were very good.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
second half, right?
Yeah.
So maybe tell me what you thought about the game.
Yeah, I think it was a balanced game. I think first half United were the way better team. Second half, Palace definitely did come into the game. They
Forest, you
deserved,
mean?
sorry, Forest. They deserved their lead as well in the second half. And yes, the United first goal shouldn't have stood. And in terms of VAR, I don't know if you remember there was a time they were thinking about introducing something like a coach challenge or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's something that could have worked in those moments. But if you don't even want to get VR involved, you remember when in UEFA competitions they used to have two extra linesmen that stood behind the goalpost. I think
Hmm.
that's something that the Premier League as well could use for situations like that because I think we've seen that happen on a few occasions already, right? So, but in terms of the game, I think Forest deserved something from that game. I think they were actually very good. In terms of Manchester United, they've been able to put up a few good results, especially in their last four games. But if you remember, these are the games we keep saying we want to see where those adjustments come in, right? And
Yeah.
we can come out and say they didn't really come out from this test with flying colors. So, I mean, it's the truth, right?
Well,
Because the
it's 3 games and 1 draw. Are
three
you being
games, one
overly critical? Sorry, 3 wins
Three
and one
wins,
draw is
yeah,
whatever.
three
Yeah,
wins, one draw. Critical, no,
in the last
because
four.
like I've said, in the big games, we're going to expect them to step up. right? It's something
Right.
they always do. And every time I say these are the kind of games I judge this Manchester United for, especially since I think just before the Liverpool game, they've had very good results. I have noticed adjustments and flexibility from Ruben Amorim, but I'm sure the Manchester United fans as well would be critical of their team especially in that game, right? When you go to a place like Forest, 1-0 up, if you can get your next goal, go for it. If you can control
Right.
the game, control it, right? They were close to losing that game if you think about it. If this was the
They
United
were.
of about a month ago, there's
They
most
probably would have
likely,
lost that
exactly,
game.
they
Yeah.
most likely would have lost that game. So I think there's still some old habits there that they're trying to like get off. But like I said, Forest, new manager, I don't think there were any or most Manchester United fans that predicted a draw or a loss at Forest. I think a lot of them were expecting maximum points. So that's why I said I think in terms of that test, I think they failed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll go that far. Like, I think Man U fans that are expecting a win, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's your club, and you want the best all the time. But I think if you just take a step back and put things in perspective, given where they've come from, having put three good wins together on the bounce, and finding a way to get something out of a Forest game, I think if United fans can just kind of reset their expectations a little bit,
So that's where I'm
you will see
coming
that.
from, right?
Yeah,
It's based on the expectations. I mean, when similar group chats, we've seen some
I
fans
don't
come
take
out to
some of that
say,
stuff seriously.
no, I actually do take it seriously because there's some of them, they've said that they will make top for this season.
Yeah, but I mean, what else do you expect them to say? Is what I'm trying to get to.
You just said they should tailor their expectations.
Yeah, but we're fans. We're irrational for the most part. So I mean, I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, I watch the game as well, just as a football guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nothing that I watch as a football guy indicates to me that a team that finished, what was it, 15th, should make a one season jump to be top four and not four, whatever it is that we're hearing. So when I put that aside, I can then look at things more rationally and say, well, actually, no, they're putting some good wins together. We've been critical of them in the past. And if you found a way to get three wins in the Premier League and, you rescue a point away at Forest, that is, at the end of the day, what is that? 10 points from 4 games, right? That is a good return. It keeps you close enough, to the, I guess, Europe places or European places or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
Um, so, if you look at that in that lens, yeah, it's disappointing to drop points at Forest, but we're not also going to act like this is the United of old. This is
But
United
that's what
of now.
that's what a lot of them still think, right?
Well, that is their problem.
You remember there was a guy that even called me out and said we should place a bet on it that United were going to make top four. And I asked him, I
Yeah.
said, do you know what top four means? I'm like, that means there are only three teams, including the champion, that are better than you this season. And he said, yes. So which one is it? Because if I come out and say right now, I don't consider them or they're not doing what big teams do, I get slack for it. If I'm trying to judge them as a big team that they think they are, I'm getting slack for it. So which one is it?
No, no.
So which one is it?
Here, here on the lounge, I think for me, I look at them for what they are right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're not, this top team that are going to win the league. And I think deep down, if you ask, I have some friends who are, I guess, rational enough. Like, I don't think you heard some of our friends say the objective is just get a positive goal difference and all of that kind of stuff. For me, that's more in line with kind of how I would see it, right?
Yeah, I felt it was a good result for them. I felt it was a good result because it was at the same time with Burnley, so I was literally watching both games at the same time.
Yeah.
And like I said, Forest were the better team in the second half. I felt United clawed back a result. So to me, I felt it was, and that is me looking at them based on what they've done
That's
in
what
the
I
last
think
few
as
weeks.
well.
Yeah, I felt it was
Yeah.
a good result and stuff. But if they now want to judge it based on their expectations, that's why I said I think they failed their test because not just that, even their expectations. I think that is also mine because these are the games that I've always said these are the games I pay attention more when it comes to Manchester United, right? So that was just the
Well,
angle I was
I
coming
mean,
from.
to be fair, right? I'm looking at the table right now. If you want to judge it against their expectations, if for those that believe they're top four, they're actually just a point off. Yeah, so they're still in line with those expectations. Is
It's
the
November.
point I'm trying to make. Yeah, I mean, we can only even evaluate based on what we're seeing today, right? So
Yeah.
I don't really care much one way or the other. But I think for me that was a good result.
Yes.
It's you did not lose the game, so it allows you to continue to build on, a good run, and you get a chance against a good team, which I'm sure we'll talk about as when we're doing the look ahead in your next game. So all credit to them, and then we move on. Is there anything? Oh yeah, we have to give congratulations. I think just at the time of recording, we saw that Amorim was,
Oh,
the manager of the month. Was it for the month of October, right? It has to be, yeah,
yes,
month of
yes,
October.
yes,
And was it, what's his name? The guy, Mbemo was the player of the month?
yes. I think it was both of them.
At least based on the image that I saw. I actually didn't fact check that. I should do that right now, actually, just making
He
sure
was.
that
He
we have it.
was.
It was? Okay. Um, what did you think about that? I mean, congrats to Amarim,
Yeah.
but yeah, what are your
I
thoughts
think
on?
it's well deserved. Like I said, when you have judging them based on where they've been the last few months or since last year. Remember, United fans were always asking for just back to back wins, right? So for the fact he's been able to put three together, unbeaten in four, which I don't think he has also done as well since he came. I think he's deserved. Like I said in one of our group chats, I would have voted for him as well, and it's actually no shade or anything, right? I would have voted him as well to give him. Yes, I understand there are other managers who maybe had better results and everything, but sometimes I think the context of the results also matters to the voters or the criteria and how it was voted for. So yeah, I would have
Yeah,
voted for him for
I
sure.
think you're taking a piss, my guy.
I'm actually not. I'm being serious. I'm
I
actually
honestly
serious
believe it.
because I've seen
I
it in
believe.
so many months where you expect a certain manager. Like, think about it, right? I'll bet you if we go and check how many manager of the months, let's use the last two, or last three managers, I would say have won the league, which is Pep, Slots, and Klopp. I'm sure you'll be shocked at how many managers of the month they have. I haven't done that research, but I'm sure you'll be shocked if we do that research on how many manager of months they had, right? You can, let's say we can pick the treble season for Pep or the Centurion season. You can't come out and say he won every manager of the month, right? I don't think Slot won every manager of the month. He lost only 4 games last season, don't forget, right? So that's why I said I think there are different criterias and stuff that's,
Yeah, I agree and I accept that, but it doesn't stop us from having the conversations. Even if you go back and look at some of those previous years that you're referring to, I'm sure you could take a snapshot of any month and still have the argument or the
argument. Yeah.
discussion that this guy probably should have won. For me, I don't care one way or the other. It's just really
Yeah,
a
not
good
really.
conversation for banter.
Yeah.
But uh, there's a couple of things that jump out to me. I don't know what Iraiola's record was at Bournemouth in the month of October. But
Let
to
me see
me,
if I
if
can
you're going
check it.
to skip past what Arteta has done with Arsenal, because I think that's also unprecedented in itself, right? To go an entire month winning every game, not conceding a goal, and what is it, giving one shot on target away to the opposition. That in itself is context to be taken into consideration.
Yeah.
But and if that's not good enough, right? If we're gonna skip past that, I just can't see how. Again, I'm saying this with the backdrop of not really having looked at Bournemouth's record in that time. Maybe they dropped a game here or there.
Yeah, Beaumont, I'm just checking now. They've had, in their last 5 games, they've had 2 wins, 2 draws, and they lost against
In the
City.
month of October, though, I'm not,
Month of October most likely will be, how many games happened
because
in
the
October?
loss was recently.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So in the last 5, I'm sure that, what was it called? Let me see. So October, they won Forest, they drew Palace, and I think they won again and they won Fulham. So 2 wins and a draw.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then this guy won 3 games, is what we're saying. Amorim.
Amorim. So 2-0 to Sunderland, 2-1 to Liverpool, 4-2 to Brighton. Yeah. So he won 3.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds interesting enough. But yeah, again, like I said, I'm not sure how you skip past, the current league leaders who went the entire month of October without losing a game, without conceding a goal,
Yeah.
and effectively giving nothing away to the opposition. But hey, I'm not. It's not a hill I want to die on, right? Congrats to Amorim and Manchester United. They had a good October. They're getting back on track, and so it makes for more interesting conversations moving forward. Speaking of competitions that United are not involved in, we'll jump into the Champions League, just so we touch on a few of the games there. Arsenal, we went away to Slavia Prague. So let's start with Arsenal. Lots of changes going into that game. I was actually really concerned about that game, not
Mm-hmm.
because I thought we were going to lose, but I think I shared it on here that there were going to be a lot of changes,
The
and
changes,
sometimes
injuries.
changes can be difficult in the Champions League, but it was actually quite comfortable in the end. 3-0 win to
Yeah.
Arsenal.
What surprised me about that game was Mikel literally went back to last season's style of play. That was the thing that surprised me about it. I thought he would still try and keep the direct approach. I understand we didn't have a striker on the pitch, but he literally went back to last season's. Nogard was literally the Thomas Partey in this game. Waneri, Rice, then Trossard, Saka, Merino up top. So he literally went back to our style of play last season. I think Hincape, Nogard, I think they stepped in very, very well. I'd say first 15 minutes, maybe, Slavia Prague were really up for it. They were very physical. They came at us and everything. But then again,
Junkyard bullies.
yeah. Did you see their striker?
Bro.
That guy was like 7'7" or
That
something.
guy
That guy
looks like
was
something you're watching the movies or
exactly
something.
that guy. Wow, when I saw
Trying to
that guy, I'm
bring the
like, this guy
bad
is
guy
a
in.
unit. But you could tell we settled into the game, got control of the game, and I think after we got the penalty, it was. What did
Was
you think
done.
about that penalty? Actually,
In real time, I didn't even see a
see
penalty. So
it,
when the
yeah,
referee was holding the play, I was like,
yeah,
well, what is this about? I thought it was a bit soft, but then when you think about the Champions League, I think
yeah.
there's precedent. Like it's something you would expect to see given in the Champions League, maybe
When
not
I saw the
as
replay, I
much in
knew it
the
was a
Premier
penalty.
League.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly,
yeah,
right. So just given the way they've called penalties in the Champions League, well, as soon as you just saw the slightest touch on the guy's hand,
yeah,
right, it was always going to be given. For
yeah.
me, it wasn't because I didn't even see it the first time.
Do you
To be
think it will be
fair, it's not
given in the
something that
Prem?
that's what I just said, right? I don't know if it would have been given in the
I think
Prem.
it would. Because
I'm not sure.
most times they also look at it as like they always say like is the hand in a natural position and stuff like that.
Right.
I didn't think that hand was a natural position.
No, it definitely wasn't a
Yeah, so
natural
that's why I
position.
feel
But
it will be given in the Prem.
the reason I'm answering the question, I'm not sure, is there are other penalties that if you sit down and
Yeah,
ask me today, do
we're
I think
talking
they should
about
have
the
been
we're talking
given?
about the Premier League, so
I would have
yeah,
said yes.
mm-hmm.
Anything is possible in that league.
Yeah,
But yeah, as soon as that went in, I think it was always going to be one winner,
yeah.
even what we've seen. I know in one of our internal memo chats, I talked about how Saka doesn't really inspire me with penalties. Like, how do you feel about it? Like, I saw that penalty and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God,
I've
please just let it
always
go.
I love Saka, but yeah, just like you said, his penalties scare me. And if you remember at the beginning
Yeah.
of the season when people talked about who
Yeah.
was meant to be our penalty taker, and I said, yo, give that ball to Gyökeres, man. Like, I've always been a fan of my striker takes my penalties. And so I know Saka has been the one taking them a lot, but with Saka, I'm not gonna lie, I'm praying somewhere quietly, like, bro, just let the keep. I even rather the keeper go the other way
Yeah,
than
yeah,
him
yeah.
going the same way because he's the one he
That same
really
way
likes.
gives
Yeah,
me nerves.
he likes
Yeah.
those low penalties and everything. But the other thing I've noticed about his penalties are, especially the ones he puts on the floor, the ball goes very fast. Like he hits it quite well. So
That
before
still
the
gives
keeper
me
gets
nerves.
there, it's gone. But I'm sorry, as long as Eucharist is on the pitch, I don't want anybody touching that penalty, man. Like give it to him, let him do his job. Like so that's always been my preference, and nothing changes that.
I think it's just I just want some conviction, man. I
Yeah,
just want that penalty to always look like it's going in. You think about the Ronaldos of this life, like if they're gonna miss, they're gonna miss. But that ball is
it's
going
going
in
in.
with like
Yeah,
such ferociousness. Right?
yeah.
With Saka, I can almost tell you it's going bottom right.
Bottom right. Oh, yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Now, granted, the record is pretty decent, but still, it just doesn't make me feel very comfortable.
yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. I don't think the striker always has to take the penalty. I think more accurately, the
The
best
best
penalty
penalty
taker
taker.
should
Yeah,
always take the penalty.
but you
And
hardly see
I think
strikers that don't know how to take penalties. You hardly see them.
I can't think of one off the top of my
Yeah,
head. Yeah,
you
so
hardly see strike because I mean, think about it. Like growing up playing football and everything. If you're a forward, penalties is one of those things you always wanted to take, or you do a lot,
right.
even when just during warm ups and everything. But yeah, best penalty taker, and I think Eucharist is our best penalty taker for sure.
I won't dispute that based
Yeah.
on some of the things I've seen. Even the one it took earlier in the season was pretty good.
Oh
I
yeah, the
think
one against Leeds, right? Yeah, Leeds,
Leeds. I
Leeds.
think it was
Yeah,
Leeds.
man,
Yeah,
he hit that.
yeah. That's what I want, man.
That
Like
guy
you
hits that
know,
ball. Yeah.
we're away to
Mm-hmm.
a very tough ground in Europe where we'd rather not be somewhere really,
And Eucharist
I
is
don't,
also used to taking like high pressure penalties.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Put
high
it in,
pressure
man.
penalties. Man. Like he's
Put that
very.
thing in for
I
me,
remember there
man.
was one. Was it last season? Their cup final. I think it was against. Yeah, it was Benfica because they were. I think they were losing 1-0. They came back 1-1. So I think it was a penalty to get it 2-1 or get it
Yeah.
2-2 or something, bro.
Smash it,
The way
man.
he smashed. The way he smashed, the minute he even picked the ball, I'm sure the fans knew
Yeah.
there was no chance. Man, he
The only one
smacked that
outcome.
penalty. Yeah. So,
That's what I want to feel, man.
yeah.
It's like it's kind of like Haaland for me is one of the
Mm-hmm.
best strike. I think is the best striker in the world,
Yeah.
right? I think Mbappe is in my opinion, the best player right now.
Yeah.
But as far as finishing goes, I don't
Yeah.
think there's a better
Like
player than.
imagine Harry Kane picking up the ball to play penalty or
No
Haaland.
chance,
Like
man. No
you're already
chance, bro.
defeated knowing those are the guys you're going up
Actually,
against.
you know what? I need to stop disrespecting Kane. I always forget about
Kane.
Kane, but Kane is putting up numbers,
Kane.
my
My
guy.
God.
Kane is putting up numbers, my guy. Yeah.
That
So
guy is something else, man.
Kane and Haaland are definitely up there. I
Yeah.
need to revise my
Yeah.
my
That
take.
guy
I
is
think it's
something
Kane
else.
or Haaland, 1A, 1B, whoever you want to pick. But
Yeah.
yeah, both of them guys, when they pick up the ball to take a penalty,
I
just
think
start
I'll
running
take
back
Kane
to the
before
halfway
Haaland
line.
for penalty. So
I would take Kane
yeah,
for
I'll
sure.
take
I
Kane
would take
before
Kane
him. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just start going to the halfway line. It's
Mm-hmm.
done. You stand no chance,
No
right?
chance.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into oh no, before we move on from that, Merino, we have to give him his credit coming
My
into
G.
yeah, 2 goals again, in that position.
Yeah.
Both of them actually well taken. The first one was a real striker's goal, kind of finding the little pockets, timing around and getting on the end of that Trossard ball. And then obviously the second is just feeding off, ball from Declan Rice and just getting stuck in there. But we had a discussion, right, about Merino being. I think someone had mentioned that there's no drop off between Gyökeres and Merino. Uh, what did you take of that?
Yeah, that was a crazy
You know,
take. I don't think anybody
yeah,
can come out there because, again, and I think it's a thing we do where instead of us to try to give players credit for doing. Marino has never played as a striker till he came to,
yeah,
literally not even till he came to us now, till
yeah,
February this year,
yeah,
right? This guy is a central midfielder. I remember even when we signed him in one of our group chats when people used to say like, oh, what's this guy? And I said, I like Miko Moreno. Fortunately for me, I
right,
was able to see him more when I watched Zubimendi. And I said, if there's one thing I noticed about him is he's not the flashy type. He's not easy on the eye, but he's a Spanish player. That's the best way to describe him. Like he's a Spanish player.
What does that mean?
The
Yeah,
fundamentals of football, he has it, right? And then he's very physical. He's a box crusher, literally a central midfielder. And You remember when we had the Kai Havertz injury, and you were one of those people who that called we were going to use him as a striker, and that is like, how do you even come up with such take as Merino as a striker? But
How did I come up with it?
no, like when you
Oh,
made
like
that
okay,
statement, I'm asking like, you didn't
who
even think
comes in?
about, yeah, you didn't think of Trossard, you didn't think of Martinelli, you didn't think of Saka, you didn't think of Waneri, because I'm looking about players who have that more attacking
Profile,
mindset,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
profile, right? But I understand it now because he's a box crusher as a midfielder, right? And the thing about Merino is he knows how to move and drift around spaces. And I don't know how he has that for a midfielder, especially with someone his size. So when Mikel made that move, mind you, people need to realize that he knows how to finish. Like, he's actually a good finisher. I remember his second goal against Leicester last season when he came off the bench, which was the first game they played him as a striker. Do you remember we're drawing 1-1? Sorry, 0-0. He came off the bench. We won the game 2-0. He scored both goals. That was the first game he played as a striker, right? You remember the goal against Real Madrid, the third goal, when I think it was Kelly that put it in the
Edge of the
box, and he
box,
just
yeah, smashed it.
like he just
Yeah,
smashed it
yeah.
towards it. So he has a good finish on him, but he's actually come up with some very big goals for us now since February, like very big
Yeah,
goals, and not just for Arsenal, even for the Spanish team. I think we definitely need to give him his flowers, man, because to have that kind of profile as a player, a lot of people don't rate you, but I'll say good 6, 7 out of 10 times when he's asked to come in and fill in and does a job. He literally he does a job. Like, look at the first goal he scored in Slava Prague. That was such a striker finish. Like, he literally just drifted out of nowhere, little touch, and boom, is behind the goalie. So great job for him. I'm sure he's the one that's going to play again this weekend. Just do whatever it takes. Like, this game this weekend was just whatever it
oh,
takes.
it's just
So
get it,
kudos
get it over
kudos
the
to
line.
Merino, man. My guy, I've always liked him. So
Yeah, I mean, I like Merino a lot. I think when I made that call, it was because, like, I don't know, I watch a lot of interviews. I watch a lot of interviews from the players, from managers, just to kind of get more insights on how to look at the game. And I don't know what I was watching this week. Someone had mentioned it was one of the Arsenal players. Maybe I can't remember. I don't want to call the wrong name, but they had asked them who is more likely to be a manager in the current squad,
oh, okay.
and the person said Merino because he just
Mm,
kind of understands the game. And I can see that. And when I made that call, it's not because I knew that he was a striker or anything. Obviously, he never played it before. But there's, I think today people understand football differently.
yeah.
Football is no longer what we grew up watching, where
Watching.
it's like,
Yeah.
joga bonito and
Yeah.
just be free. Football today is tactical. It's the guys that are really understanding what the game needs and stuff like that. And that is Merino. Merino looks like a teacher's pupil or whatever they
Mm-hmm.
call them, right? Someone that can soak in the information and just execute on the fine margins of what you need him to do. He's never going to have the pace of Haaland or
Mm-hmm.
or the strength of whoever.
Yeah.
But in terms of occupying zones, like, all these coaches now divide the pitch into zones and tell you where to be and what not to do. He can soak that in, and that's exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of his return has come from understanding, okay, where do I need to be when the ball is on whatever side? Um, so it's really a credit to his ability to take in information
Yeah.
and adapt to what other players around him are doing. So, but what I always find funny is people use the position that they want to use to describe Merino whenever it's
When
convenient.
it's
Remember,
convenient,
we
yeah.
went to Liverpool. The the narrative was we play three
Defensive
DMs,
mid, yeah.
right? So it's like, okay, is he a DM now, or when he scores a couple goals, is it the next? Is it like there's no drop off between Gyökeres and Merino? Which one is it, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it too defensive or is it closer to Gyökeres? Like, I
It's
always
funny
find that
that
really
that
interesting.
question you said you heard from the players when you said who in the squad would be, who do you see as a manager? That's actually an interesting question because I'm trying to think outside Merino, because you said, I'm trying to think like who would that person be? The only person that
I've
comes to
heard
my head,
Raya
which
before.
that's crazy. That's literally the
I've
name
heard
that
Raya.
was the name I was about to call. Like,
Yeah.
if there's any person and the reason I called Raya is because I've watched a few on his interviews, just like he said. There was one he did with what's the name of this goalkeeper that has like a podcast?
Ben
Foster.
Foster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was an interview he did, and just the way he's talked about the game and how he sees the game as a goalkeeper and everything, I was like, wow, that was very interesting. So he was the same person I
Yep.
was literally going to call.
Yep.
Like Raya
I've
is the
seen
only
that
person
too.
that comes to mind. Yeah.
Raya, Merino. If I had to pick, I think Odegaard would be an interesting one, but obviously he has a long time ahead of
Mm-hmm.
him because the squad is so young. It's kind of
Very
hard to
young.
see
Yeah. Yeah.
today. But yeah, Raya is definitely up there.
Yeah. I see
Merino is
Raya
another
for
one for
sure.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
All right, let's move on to the. I think the marquee game this week was the Liverpool Real Madrid game. Right,
Mm.
that was the one that we're all looking forward to at Anfield. The return of Trent. Trent only saw a few minutes at the end, but ultimately Liverpool won that game. So back
Mm.
to back wins for Liverpool. They won at Villa, and then they won at home to Real Madrid with a who's scored in that game? McAllister.
McAllister.
Man, what's his name? The goalie.
Toi.
What's the goalie's name? Courtois. Courtois
Yeah.
put in
He has
a
something
worldie
against.
that
He has
day.
something against Liverpool.
He was going off, man, save after save. But it's interesting because the goal that ended up going in was right at him.
Right in front
You
of
know,
him.
yeah. So, what were your thoughts on that game?
I can't remember the last time I saw a 1-0 trashing. Like literally, I can't remember the last time I saw a 1-0 trashing. Liverpool trashed. They trashed Real
That's
Madrid in
funny.
that game. Like they trashed Real Madrid in that game. Without Courtois, that would have been a 5-6-0 game. And it's crazy because I was watching the game and I'm looking at Alonso and I'm like, bro, have you not heard what's been going on in the Premier League? Like, it seems like you haven't heard what's been going on in the Premier League. One, I didn't like his lineup, right? I'm a big fan of Adegule, but I don't think he's someone that should be playing on the right. I think that kid needs to play in the middle, closer to the striker, right? You have your Rodriguez. I know the other guy is injured. You have your Vinicius and stuff like that. You have wingers that are good enough to isolate Liverpool's wingbacks, right? Yes, the likes of Kirkers didn't play. I think what's the kid's name on the right back?
Bradley,
Bradley. I think he had a fantastic game against
Vinicius.
Vinicius. But then again, when you look at Real Madrid, like we've said this before, their wingers or their attackers are just three guys that this is including Rodrigo, by the way, have no interest in the defensive aspect of the game, right? So I think that was already a negative side for Real Madrid. But Real Madrid literally tried to play like the fast game on the floor with Liverpool. And that was crazy because when you look at the Liverpool side, he put Verts on the left, although Verts was drifting into the middle a lot. He had Ekitike, he had Sabosla, had McAllister. These are techie players that will just move the ball so quickly
They will
around the
play around
midfield,
you.
like
Yeah,
literally so quick. And then when you look at his balance, he had Valverde on the right back, had Camavinga, Chouameni, Bellingham. Was there any other person? Who was their midfield again?
yeah. I don't remember,
Their
bro.
midfield was Chouameni, Camavinga, because Valverde played right,
Camavinga.
yeah, and Bellingham. But
Yeah,
he still does that crazy thing Ancelotti used to do where they're trying to almost use Bellingham as a
as a
10 or a
supporting.
supporting
Yeah,
striker. Bellingham is an 8. He's a ball carrier, box to box guy. Use him in that position. I was expecting him to play the likes of maybe a Camavinga, Bellingham, and Adegule, and your attacking front three. But I mean, credit to Liverpool. Like I said, that was a 1-0 trashing. They moved the ball very fast. They were very intentional with their attack. I think Real Madrid definitely did play into how Slot wanted his opponents to play. And I was actually not shocked about the result. Vinicius was horrible in that game. Bradley took care of him. Like I said, Adegule on the right, you're not going to get much out of him. This is not La Liga, right? Like you're playing the Premier League team, mind you, the Premier League champion. Well deserved win for Liverpool. Well deserved win.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think if they gave Real Madrid 90 more minutes, there was no chance of them
There
winning
was no
that game,
chance. Yeah.
right? The way they set up, the way they played. And I think I learned more about Real Madrid in that game than I did about Liverpool. We know what
Mm.
Liverpool can do
In
on their
what
day.
sense?
We know. So last season, I keep referencing this game, the Atletico Real Madrid
Madrid
game.
game, yeah.
And I think I've shared my reasons for wanting to play Real Madrid at the time. And I think, with all due respect, of course, I really respect Carlo Ancelotti. In fact, I have him as I
Top
think
three for
anybody that
sure.
has him top three for sure.
Mhm.
I go with Pep. If you go with Ancelotti, I'm not even going to argue with you,
Yeah.
right? That's how much I really rate him. But I think what you're seeing with managers of that mold is that the game is shifting away from
Get
them.
way.
We're
Yeah.
now in the tacticals era, right? The chess. I think in the last episode I said Arsenal is now playing chess, right? So we have managers now who have divided the pitch into however many lines, and they're basically using PlayStation controllers to direct where players should be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that if you're coming against a Carlo Ancelotti who is of the old school vibe, it's unlikely that he's going to adapt to that. In his case, Real Madrid has always had the best players who, more often than not, can create enough moments to win the game. But when you now come against an elite team who is capable of doing that tacticals, I think 8 times out of 10, they probably beat the the team that just has moment players, which is why I wanted them in the first place. With Ancelotti leaving and Xabi Alonso coming in, I thought that they were now building more in the mold of that, okay, tacticals era. Because remember, Flick dominated the league last year. I think they didn't really have that. It was a transition. Was Xabi Alonso there last year for them?
No, this was his first season.
This is his first season. Okay, yeah, but I thought, okay, Xavi Alonso is going to come in, trying to get some framework, trying to get some more structure to the team. Bro, what I watched the midweek game felt more of the same to me. I don't know. I was watching the game and I took screenshots and I shared on some of our group chats. You will see if you go back and watch the highlights, or if you have time to watch the game, so many instances where Liverpool are on the attack, and if you just freeze the frame, you would not see Vinny anywhere in the picture.
Nope.
Mbappe
Mbappe.
is nowhere in
Nope.
the picture,
Yeah.
right? And I said on the group chats that we're on, like, you can't keep defending 9 against 11 in the modern game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen,
Yeah.
right? That's exactly what you saw. Chance after chance, Liverpool had opportunities. And so, anyway, I say all that to say that I think I summarized it in another one of our chats, where in the Spanish league, La Liga, if it comes down to Real Madrid having better players than anybody else, and then the highline guys and Barcelona basically beat whoever can beat the most people will win the league. That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much what it's going to be. When you come out to Europe and you now start facing all these tacticals like the Slots, the Artetas, I'm sure I'm missing the company in Bayern Munich, you're going to get exposed.
And
You are
Europe is a
going to
more
get
attacking
exposed.
game.
You're going to have Vinny having to do a lot more work. Rodrigo or whoever plays on the right is going to have to do more defensive work than they're used to, because you're just not going to have the opportunity to attack teams incessantly, right? Without them coming back at you. So I thought Xavi Alonso was going to. I don't watch a lot of Real Madrid games except, like, the Clasico or
Mm-hmm.
the big games in Europe, but I thought they were going to address that, but what I saw against Liverpool, they got completely outplayed from minute one
Yeah,
to the
that's why
end.
I called it a 1-0 trashing. Bro, they were
Yeah,
all
that's
over
the
Real
best way to
Madrid.
describe it.
They
Best way
were
to
all
describe it.
over Real Madrid. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Um, Not really sure what else. In Europe, what else was there that was interesting? I guess we could talk a little bit about Chelsea. I think they drew as well.
Oh,
I didn't
yes.
really
I
see the
just
game, to
remember
be
that
honest.
game. I was in and out of that game, but man, Chelsea, man. Karabakh deserved it, right?
Right.
Like Karabakh deserved based on the parts that I saw. Because a lot of the times when I was watching the game, because I was packing my bags to go catch a flight at that time, but every time I was literally watching this game, like let's say like every 5 minutes phase I get to watch it, Karabakh
Yeah.
were literally on the attack. every single time, right? And Chelsea is such a they're so inconsistent, so inconsistent. Caicedo didn't have a good game in my opinion. Lavia unfortunately got injured pretty early. I think he was out
Oh,
by like the 6th minute. Yeah, he was out by like the 6th minute, and I feel bad for that kid because I just feel I rate him highly, but I think I need to stop doing that because if you're not available, what am I not rating you for? Because I've never seen you play 90 minutes. I've hardly seen you play 45 minutes. So literally, I'm rating you based on snippets. I might as well just go watch compilation on YouTube. So it's like, it's now, I literally said that to myself that day. I'm like, it's hard for me to rate this guy anymore because you're literally never available. Availability is a big part of being an athlete or playing football, especially because you have to be available for people to actually know who and what you really are, what you possess. And unfortunately, it doesn't have availability. So I remember Chelsea scored first, beautiful goal by Esteval, and Karabakh came back 1-1, got a penalty 2-1. Nacho came in the second half. He was actually very good when he came in the second half. Made it 2-2, nearly made it 3-2, and the game was done. So I don't even know where they are in the league phase. I didn't know they're in the top eight.
no, they're not in the top eight
They're not
for
in the
sure.
top eight. Okay.
Yeah, because I
Oh,
think they're just below Barcelona. Let me bring that
but
up.
interesting because they play Barcelona next.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
So
but
I'm
that
pulling it
Barcelona
up.
highline might favor them.
Yeah,
So,
so Barcelona is 11th and Chelsea is 12th.
okay. So, but yeah, their inconsistencies is just a big problem for them. So, I guess this week we see because who did they play? Okay, yeah, they played Spurs, won, played Karabakh, drew, and who did they play this weekend?
This weekend coming up,
Yeah,
I think they
yeah.
play Wolves.
Mm. Well, I'll wait till we
Yeah,
get to
I
that
think they
part.
play. Yeah. Actually, before we move on to looking at the weekend, you touched on Barcelona and Chelsea play Barcelona next. So maybe we'll quickly touch on that.
Yeah.
I think Barcelona are they're really an interesting team to watch because I don't understand that highline business they do. Did you watch the Club Brugge game?
Yeah, because I kind of tuned out from the other game to watch the Barcelona game as well. Because when it was at 2-1, I was like, wow, Club Brugge beating Barca. Then I moved it. I switched to the game. Madness. That game was like a table tennis game. Like,
Yeah,
Club Brugge came to play. This one was not like, oh, we need. Club Brugge held Barca and said, we are living here with something.
yeah.
Like, we're living here with something. Very entertaining game, especially in the second half. But that Barcelona highlight, I know they had it last season, but this season's own is crazy because I've seen a few Barcelona games, and in my head, I'm just like, like, why is this line so high?
Well, I think you said that in one of the chats, and I was like, well, didn't you watch any of their games last year? Like, it's the
Because
same. It's the
last year,
same game that they're playing
I
all the
think
time,
last
you
year,
know?
maybe it was their attacking phase because they had the Lewandowskis, the Rafinhas, and all
Yeah,
very
yeah,
fit, right?
yeah. So,
So
yeah,
maybe them they were outscoring
they
people,
were more,
especially
yeah,
the
yeah,
Inter Milan game and all. But this
right.
season, every time I look at them, I'm like, this high, it's giving Ange.
Yeah. I
Like
think the other
reckless
thing
Ange.
is, it is reckless.
Like
The other thing
reckless
is,
Ange.
it is the second season running. So I
Mm-hmm.
think teams have
Teams
now
have
had
figured it
one season
exactly. They
to figure
figured
out
it
where the
out.
weaknesses would
Yes.
be, right?
It
Because every
is.
time I see them, they look like they're about to lose.
Yeah, it's. I was watching that game. Flick, like, tell these guys to sit back. They kept going. And I think Club Brugge were actually cheated in that game. I'm sorry.
I was
That
going to
goal
ask
that
you
they
about
cancelled,
that fourth goal.
that
Yeah.
is not a foul. There is no
No,
way
even I
that is
think
the foul.
Chesney knew that too.
Chesney knew that as well, and I was
Chesney knew
shocked
that too.
that the VAR cancelled that goal. That was not a foul.
It
That
was
was
not.
literally, yeah.
They
I think
got away
Club
with
Brugge,
one
yeah,
for sure.
they got away with one because I was trying to understand where was the foul. There was no point. Did he hold Chesney, hold him back, or was there really any contact in terms of their leg? He literally missed the ball. Like he
Yep.
literally missed the ball. So
Yep.
yeah, I felt they were robbed.
Yep. Yeah, I think so too. Okay, let's move ahead to the weekend's games. There is some really exciting games to look forward to.
Yeah,
We'll start with ours so we can get it out of the way. We're going away to Sunderland. I think we've kind of touched on it a little bit. What do you
yeah.
expect?
Tough game. Very, very tough game. Remember, I've seen a lot of their games this season. Remember when they played Chelsea and you thought they were going to win, and I said, bro, this Sunderland is not what most people think. It's going to be a tough game. They haven't lost at home. They haven't lost at home. But I believe the quality in our team and how we play is going to take care of that game for us. So I'm expecting nothing less than 3 points. But this is one of those games I really wish we were going in with Gyökeres. But I think we have enough quality to get ourselves through the game. The midfield is going to be a beautiful battle. Xhaka, playing against Xhaka and all that. So Stadium of Light, difficult game, but 3 points. Those are my expectations.
I don't have any prediction that doesn't sound like 3 points
3 points,
anyway.
yeah.
But I'm going with my favorite scoreline this season. That's fed families. It's going to be 2-0 to Arsenal. I think Sunderland are going to see a very different kind of game that they've experienced this season.
Yeah.
Like I said, we play chess now, not football. I think it's going to be really patient against a very tough crowd in Sunderland. I don't think we're going to give too much away. You know what was actually interesting to me in the presser from Arteta after the Slavia Prague game? You know, at the end of the game, there was a penalty that was given that VAR overturned.
Yes, Ben
Ben
White.
White.
Yes, yes.
And Arteta actually addressed that
But what did he
because
say?
you could see his reaction. It's like it was happy that it was overturned because now I think these guys have this clean sheet thing that they're really, really trying to protect. And they
Yes.
didn't want to see that go.
Yes.
And that is going to be really important in the next few games coming up because now you've seen it's a game within the game in itself where these guys are now really they don't actually want to concede. It's not just
Bro,
that
it's
we're not
crazy.
conceding, they don't want to concede,
It's
right? Like
crazy.
that game was 3-0. It was the last minute of the game or something like that.
Especially in Europe.
It's a meaningless penalty,
Meaningless
really, at the
penalty,
end of the
yeah.
day. And you could see the reaction of the guys to that. So that, taking that into the Sunderland game, I think Sunderland are going to be hard pressed to find something in I don't know if it's not, I don't expect a high scoring game just
No,
because Sunderland, they've been
no.
good this season. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one for them.
In the Premier, to be honest, this season, the only games I expect high scoring games are against teams that I know would likely come out to play us, but
They
knowing
don't
they would
exist.
exactly like how many
They
teams
don't,
are willing to come out to play us, right?
they
And
don't
especially in the
exist. We
Premier
have to
League
force
where,
it.
yeah, Premier League where you have a tight space, teams are adjusting very well. And when you're playing Arsenal, you know at most phases of the game, there's going to be a low block. There's going to be a mid block. And expect that with Sunderland. They will try to hit us on the counter a few times because they have the players who are able to do that. But I expect a very, very tight game. I would even take a 1-0 and keep it pushing. But speaking about the clean sheet, do you know yesterday was actually the first time I saw the list of games that we had played, and it was 8 clean sheets back to back.
Sorry, I missed that. Say that again.
I said, yesterday was the first time I actually saw the list of teams we played back to back. Because I counted it was actually 8 clean sheets. That is ridiculous. Especially when you play in the Premier League. Like, it's giving me Jose Moreno.
I mean,
First stint
everyone's
in
talking about
Chelsea.
that.
Yeah. Like, literally,
Yeah,
that's what like, it was so hard to break them down and all that, right?
yeah,
So, again, kudos to the team, but I won't lie, I love the clean sheet, but the 3 points is more it's more important to me. It's
yeah.
more important to
Well,
me.
they kind
But
of go
yeah,
together, right? You know,
yeah,
one gives
yeah.
you a platform for the other.
For the
So,
other one. So
I think the next one, let's actually jump to the Chelsea Wolves game. I don't have a take on this one. I've stopped
I
getting
know
involved with Chelsea
they
games.
haven't hired a manager, so I don't even know who is taking care of their manager. But
The hate is coming
it's
out.
at
I
Stamford
can
Bridge,
hear
right?
it. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. The heat is coming out. I can hear it.
Yeah, I can see Wolves getting some. I can see Wolves getting some.
I can hear
I
it.
can see Wolves getting something like those like very nasty draw because Chelsea, like I said, that Chelsea team, their defense and their attack is my problem because I don't know which of them is coming out. I don't know who's going to be good. I don't know who's going to be
Mhm.
bad. I don't know if the attacking department is going to be a unit. I don't know if the defensive side is going to be a unit. Like, just no idea. their defense has a lot of calamity in them. It's in terms of errors and stuff like that, right? So I don't even know who the caretaker manager is. That's the guy that can just go stink up the joint. If you're going to stink up the joint against, like, see the way they lost the game against Sunderland, right? So it could be one of those games. If they win, will I be shocked? No, because they are playing Wolves. But if Wolves collect a draw, will I be shocked? Hell no. Again, so yeah.
Okay, so now we're getting into the fun part with two more games to go. Let's start with the Spurs hosting Manchester United.
Yeah. So these are the kind of games that Amorim stands up for. Spurs again are playing at home. I don't know why I want to lean towards Spurs for this game, which is crazy. I think Spurs get a result in this game. I think they get a result in this game.
Tough part for me is I don't see how United win this game,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I actually also consider the Tottenham result at home or the record at home.
At home.
And so because of that, I think I'm just going to lean towards like a 2-2 draw or something
Yeah.
crazy like
I
that.
think Spurs get something. Draw, win. I think they do. United will need the win, especially. I don't think United can do with a loss going into the international
A
break.
loss kind of sends them back to
Exactly.
it undoes everything that
Everything.
yeah.
Literally everything. So
So
you
we'll
said
see.
a draw? Ah man, that's
Yeah, I'm going with a draw.
I think yeah, I'll just leave it that way. Spurs will get something. So draw or Spurs. Let's go. Fando way.
And finally, the Man City Liverpool game. That is the Super Sunday clash. On Sunday, Man City is hosting Liverpool. Liverpool coming off of 2 wins back to back, and I think City as well. Like they've had a decent run.
Yeah.
So what do you make of that? That can change the picture, at least in the short term, for one of those teams.
Yeah. Both teams really do need the win. But what's
Unfortunately,
interesting,
both teams can't have the win.
they can't have the win. But what I'm looking forward to this game, and this is me talking to be it the media, the narratives, dictators, and everything. I need Liverpool to go to Etihad and go
And
and
win the
get
game.
that win. I don't want to hear no, oh, we are going. I don't. Go and get that win. That's not what I'm
Keep the
predicting.
same energy,
Keep
eh?
the same energy. I need them to go to Etihad, outplay City, and come back with 3 points. Because anything less than that, I'm coming for. I'm coming for their necks. So my expectations is highly on Liverpool, but I think it's going to be a very interesting game because Manchester City have changed the way they played. They play more direct. Their balls are more like vertical now. And I don't know if you've noticed it. They defend better now. Pep is in no
Yeah.
rush. Pep is in no rush to have the ball. He's not crazy about the ball anymore. If they lose the ball, they're keeping their shape. Right? They play direct. Believe me, there's a lot of long balls that comes with Man City now, which Slot doesn't like. So it's going to be interesting to see Doku Bradley. I don't know who is going to play on the left. Foden has been playing very well. Haaland, as we know, going to be that physical battle. We're always going to see it. I think it's going to end a draw. I think it's going to end a draw because when I look back at when both teams were actually at their best, most times it was always a draw. If I remember correctly, when one was pretty much down and bad, like Man City, yeah, Liverpool will go there and win. So I think I'm leaning more towards a draw. Yeah. But Liverpool, they have to. They have to.
I'm honestly leaning towards a draw as well, but Haaland, man, Haaland is unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this game is going to come down to moments, right? Because you're going to have two teams who would effectively cancel each other out, I think. But if I had to put my money on somebody creating a moment, right, just converting something out of nothing, it would probably be Haaland.
I hope Turkey
Um,
starts this game. I really
I
want to
do.
see
I
Turkey in
hope
this game.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be a good game for him.
Do you think
Um,
Slots brings Verts back into the 11?
I, I mean, it should. That's the most expensive midfielder in the league.
And he
So,
had a good game
whoa,
against Madrid.
So one thing I will say is I think the Madrid game is a very small sample size, to be fair, but
Yeah.
I think I'm seeing something where Slot is maybe now throwing that formula out of the window
It's
and
going
just
back to basics.
reverting back
Yeah,
to,
it's going
you
back
know
to
what, just
basics.
give me my midfield three.
Yeah.
You, this new guy, you're gonna have to figure out where you play, and if that's out on the left, that's out on the left. But
Yeah.
that Soboslai, Gravenberg, McAllister, you know, trio, I think is probably the best
Yeah.
for
It's
this
very
Liverpool team.
balanced.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, I mean, we'll see if it's Gakpo or it's what's his name, Vert that gets the
True. Because
nod.
Gakpo, yeah.
I won't
Yeah.
be surprised to
I
see
see
Vert on
Vets
the
going back
bench.
to the bench.
Yeah, I won't be surprised to see him on
Yeah.
the
I see
bench
Vets going back to the bench. Gakpo's physicality for the
because you need
party.
that. Yeah, you need the
Yeah.
runners. You
That's
need
true. That's
the
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially away. You know,
Yeah, but I want to see Cherky.
to
I want to see Cherky in this game, man. I actually want to see him in this
we'll
game.
see. We'll be here. We'll be
Yeah.
here. I think it'll be actually. I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll
But
be a draw. I would love a
Liverpool,
draw. Let me
they
just come out and
have
say that.
to go to the Etihad, play, and
I
call
don't
it
want to
their
hear
own.
none of
I
that
don't want to hear, yeah, I don't want to
conservative
hear that. No, I don't want to hear it.
nothing.
Just go there, get your win as the champion who's going to a fellow title rival's home. Go collect those 3 points. Yeah, like I don't even have expectations for Man City at this point. They are title rivals, but Liverpool are coming to your house to get 3 points. So give it to them. We should free. We'll see.
I mean, there's no
Let's see.
better way to
Let's see.
end this week's episode, man. That has to be the mic drop
Yeah.
moment.
Let's
So we'll
see.
leave it there. All right, my guy. I
All right,
think
bro.
that's all we have for this week. But yeah, great catching up as always, man.
Yeah,
Talk
man, as
on
always.
Sunday.
I love, bro.
All right, cheers.